the human of all humans. So I have learned to reckon with the term or the word feminist.
Okay.
As a word in lexicography, like just the word, right?
Okay.
So feminist is a layman's terms for a person who believes in the equal power of all genders and sexes.
Okay. That's it.
Right?
Right.
So because I understand my gender isn't my primary, or what I don't hold this to be my primary identity.
Okay.
I recognize that I'm also a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Black before I'm woman.
Uh-huh.
And I recognize that the intersections of being a Black woman is extremely different than just being a white woman, or being a Hispanic woman, or being a Native American woman. And so for me, while for layman's terms, I say that I am a feminist, in my heart, if I had to give that space in my identity a title, I define myself as being womanist.
Okay.
Which comes from Alice Walker in Search of Our Mother's Gardens, in which she describes womanism as being the intersection between being a feminist and understanding the reckoning of the gender of being a woman, but also paying homage to and honor to the fact that my experiences of being Black and a woman is completely different than just being Black or just being a woman.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Womanist.
Yes, and I would definitely, if you haven't read Alice Walker's The Search for Our Mother's Gardens, it is amazing.
I'm going to write that down right now. I'm always looking for things to add to my must-read list.
I read so much.
What else would you recommend? What else do I need to read?
If you're going to read a book, read the book that my podcast is loosely associated / based off of. It's called The Sisters Are All Right.
Sounds familiar.
The narrative.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
Changing the Narrative on Black Women in America. It's by Tamara Winfrey Harris.
Okay, Tamara Winfrey Harris.
That book, she does a really good job of taking all the stereotypes that are thrown at Black women and being able to delve into narratives and experiences that differ from that. And that's exactly what Goddess Talks is expanding the narrative base of the understanding of the experiences of Black women, so that women behind us can come and see, like, oh, like, if I want to be like a Black yogi, like, that's a thing and that's possible, and there are other women doing it. Like, wow, that's great. So loosely, that's kind of what Goddess Talks is in a nutshell.
Got it. Which I love. And I love the podcasts that I listened to today as well. I was like, this is really interesting. I want to ask her so many things.
Go for it. I love podcasts. I laugh, and my mom always just said this growing up, and I was such a rejector to it, because as a kid, these aren't things you necessarily want to hear. Like, my mom was always like, she's like, you're a lifelong learner. She's like, you love to read, you love to intake and process and express. And she's like, you're a lifelong learner. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't know. I was 16 trying to be something else, I guess. Okay. But I remember explicitly being like, oh, no, of course not. I'm not that. Oh. And her being like, something wrong with that. And I'm like, oh, the more I grow, it's like, oh, maybe she was right, I guess.
What are your thoughts on the state of the world right now? And you can define world any way you want to. Your world, the states, which people tend to go straight to when I ask that question, or the world itself, or the state of the world.
I believe, if you're going to read another book, it's called Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Brown. a book that I just read this semester, and this human is like phenomenal. And I was like, I'm trying to petition my school to bring her so I can just meet her personally. That's how much I like enjoyed everything that she talked about. Anyway, she talks about fractals.
Okay.
And fractals are these little patterns that are repeated infinitely throughout the universe.
Okay.
They say if you look at an atom, or if you look at like a seed, and you look at the molecular structure of something, that it's a simple pattern that's repeated hundreds and thousands of times to make up the item. And in her book, she talks about creating fractals within our realms of control, and then that being a space to exercise what we wish to see in the world, and then move that outside. And so I have been trying to really implement this fractal process.
Okay.
So in my state of the world, everything is chaotic because we're consistently changing, adapting, and learning. And I'm comfortable with chaos, so saying that everything is chaotic is just like, everything is chaotic. It's cool.
Right.
But a lot of people interpret that word with a negative connotation. They think chaos, like the world is burning. And I'm like, yeah, the world's burning. And I feel like sometimes I'm that meme of like that dog sitting in the kitchen and everything's on fire. And he's like, this is fine. And I'm just like, yeah, like that's me. This is fine. But yeah, my world is in a consistent ebb and flow, and I've learned to work with it instead of working against it. And I believe that my microcosm of what I consider to be my world is actually a very representative fractal of what everything else is going on in the world. I think the difference and the switch between the micro and the macro is that the macro isn't comfortable with chaos in the way that I am.
Okay. What's your sign?
So, I'm a Gemini.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Gemini. It's really funny. I just saw my birth certificate, so I just did like my whole birth chart, and I haven't read through all of it. And I was just, my roomie was like, "Oh, your moon's in Sagittarius." So I was just like, I don't even know what this means. She's like, "This is why we get along so well." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Sometimes, you know what, I don't know a lot about astrology. I feel as if I know about a few. My mother is a Gemini, and while I hear a lot of, you know, the twins and the different personalities and you know, within the same person, for me, her being the only Gemini I know, none of that stuff ever rang true. She's like the most sweetest, generous, but she's my mother too, so.
Right.
Yeah, she's the sweetest, most
but
generous.
It's also like, I personally think there are a lot of signs that get a bad rap for all their negative qualities, and I think it's really interesting because I believe that there's a shadow side to everything. There's basements and there's balconies to everything. And so, and I think that a lot of certain signs get highlighted more for their shortcomings or their shadow sides than the same exact qualities that bring them light.
Okay. Right.
So it's like, it's like, oh, okay.
It's like Capricorn. Am I stubborn or am I ambitious?